In today's show, it's our annual over-under season preview extravaganza. My friend Chuck joins the program and we give predictions for every player on the roster. Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, world? It's your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter, Mike Richmond. You are listening to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Thanks for making this show your first listen. Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, every weekday. Make it a part of your daily routine. Make it your first listen. Tell your friends to do the same. It's Locked On Blazers, your team every day. Today's episode, an annual tradition where my friend Chuck, Charles Tuggle, joins the program and we give over-under predictions for every player on the roster. Chucky Muggs, how you doing?
I'm doing well. We've done this a few times now. How many times, in fact? Is this the third time?
I think this is the third annual. So listener Ben, a legend in the game, a true legend in the game, listener Ben sends over-unders my way every year. I share them with Charles, and then we run through every player in the roster. These are not set by me, though. So these are lines set by a loyal listener to the program. Ben, we appreciate you always. And we'll run through every player in the roster, giving predictions. It's a good way to kind of talk about everybody all at once, an all-encompassing look at the team. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to run through over-unders all episode long. Let's do it, right? Let's not wait around anymore. I got the first one for you, Charles. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Deandre Ayton, over-under 1.2 three-point attempts per game. Where are you at?
Under. I'm going under. He's had to feast for shots in Phoenix in his career with other big time shot makers. So he's probably hankering for some opportunity to do a lot of things. I don't know if shoot threes is one of those things, but maybe. But there's other people here in Portland to shoot the ball too. I'm going under.
I'm under as well. For context, Deandre Ayton, his career high last year, 0.4 three-point attempts per game. He was 7 of 24 in 67 games. So 1.2 would be 93-point attempts if he played 75 games. That's assuming pretty good health and a big volume. I understand the idea, right? Like, there's this notion that Deandre Ayton is going to play with Robert Williams. And if he plays with Robert Williams, he's going to stand on the perimeter because DeAndre Ayton kind of secretly wants to be a stretch four in his heart. That's what his heart wants. But that's a big jump. 1.2 is a big jump. I think I am also under as well. That seems like a big number. Okay. Next one, Malcolm Brogdon, over under 22.5 minutes per game. Where are you at?
Over.
Oh,
Brogdon. Yeah, Brogdon averaged 26 minutes per game last year, 6-man role.
Yep.
Never really started at all. Different sort of role.
Did not start a game at all. They aggressively kept him on the bench.
Yeah. In kind of an old school way. I feel like people swap up lineups a lot these days. We don't have as many sort of pure, sort of committed, sort of 6-man role players. This is what I sort of look at it as. He's a vet. The team may need him at certain moments. Of course, we also are trying to develop a lot of young ball handlers who also really, really need the ball. But if he's around, I think he will get some run. I don't think he's going to be totally relegated. So I think he can go over that. Maybe not much over that, and maybe not at that level of last year of 26 minutes per game in the off the bench role. But I think he goes over that. I
have a cautious under. But I'm under. I'm glad we already disagree, because a lot of times on this we agree too much. But cautious under. My reasoning is that they aren't committed to him long term, so they're not worried about like feeding him minutes to make him happy. There'll be more. If there's anyone they're comfortable with being like, "Oh, sorry, your minutes got squeezed. Are you mad?" It's someone who's like not going to be part of the long term picture. Shane Sharp last year, prior to playing the final 11 games, played 20.3 minutes per game. I think Brogdon could play right in that range. I think 22.5 is a really good line. I toyed with this one. I am A cautious under, though. Very, very cautious under. But I think your argument is as good as any, right? Is that he's a good vet who helps. And when he's here, he might play a lot. And like, you know, one injury, one little bit of foul trouble, he might play 30 minutes one night or 29 or whatever it is. So it's easy to bump up. So I'm with you. Or at least I'm not with you. I'm actually against you, but I can see the logic.
What if this line is 22.5 games played in Portland? You think he goes over that?
I do.
How come he stick around?
Yeah, that's a question, right?
Kind of expecting that line actually from listener.
Come on, Ben, give us a trade line.
Is it getting too soon here? We've had a lot of trades.
I'm trying to think about it. You know, I don't think he's going to make it to the trade deadline. Well, past the trade deadline for sure. I think there's almost no chance that he's on the roster after the trade deadline. No chance. I'll put it at non-zero, but like less than 1%. He's gone. Usually in the NBA, you don't see trades prior to January. You know, like usually it's like preseason stuff, then a big stop, and then January things get going again. It's like there's obviously exceptions to that. But there's a chance that in the James Harden swap that maybe the Blazers get involved and move Brogdon. So I would go, okay, what if I would go over 22.5, but what if I had it at 39.5? Where would you go? Does he play half the season?
Yeah, maybe under then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he gets moved also, just considering the pretty obvious trajectory of the team and the players that this team really needs to develop, which is people who need to dribble.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's like, it's not just that Malcolm Brogdon is like this tradable vet. It's like, there's like actual value in getting a guard who needs to play off the roster, because then you can just play Shaedon Sharpe and play Scoot and play Anthony Simons with, you know, with reckless abandon. They're not super deep at guard. Like Skylar Mays is a two-way guy, and he might end up, you know, if they make a trade, he might end up playing more regularly even as a two-way guy just because they need the guard depth. But, you know, having someone as talented as Brogdon is like, quote unquote, in the way. Okay, over under. Speaking of games, Moses Brown, over under 43.5 games.
I'm going under here. I just don't know where his spot is. A team that's trying to develop and rebuild has places for people, but there's only so many places. I'm going under here. He's never played over 43 games in his whole career. I was looking this up, and he had played 43 one time in his career earlier in OKC.
That year that he was kind of like a low-key starter. Yeah,
and an OKC team that's been tanking. So there was some context to him sort of getting a chance to play, which is not to say he's not deserving, but maybe not in this sort of setting. So I'm going under here. Who knows what happens with him? Yeah,
this number just is, to me, tied to Robert Williams' health, right? Assuming Moses Brown makes the team, which I believe he will, like if Rob Williams plays, there are mostly DNPs ahead for Moses. If Rob Williams is not available, has not played in the preseason, due to first he was still ramping up, and then he had a knee-to-knee collision with Jeremy Grant that I guess he took the worst of. But like, if Rob plays, I don't think Moses plays. If Rob doesn't play, he's going to have some opportunity just because they don't have a plethora of bigs. And maybe it's Duop Reith, who we'll talk about a little later, but like, I think that would be Mo's opportunity. Okay, let's talk darling of preseason. Over under 33.5% from three on the season for Toumani Camara.
Under. This is always my thing with shooting with low volume. I just think of course, sort of freak sort of variance happens in situations like this, but I just think you need a certain amount of volume to find any level of consistency at almost anything in the league, but especially shooting and three-point shooting. So what sort of volume does he even get up? And 33.5 is like league average-ish. So I'm going under, and I don't know who this person is anyways. So
you don't know Toumani Camara, preseason legends? He's had 13 and 2 preseason games, Charles. He's got young Scottie Pippen.
Footballer. He sounds like he's playing soccer in France. Under.
Yeah, listen, you've been abroad, okay? You don't know. You haven't been back in front of glued to your TV for preseason games. I don't think I'd game my over under on Moses Brown. I'm under 43.5. I am also under on Tumani Kamara. His last 2 seasons in college, 33.8% from 3 and 36.3% from 3. That 36.3% was the only time during his collegiate career that he shot north of 35%. 3-point line's a little further away. 3-point shot looks good, Charles, when you find out who he is. And Blazer fans, I'll give you Charles's address. Just email me. You can go knock on his door and tell him that he needs to get right. But his shot looks good. A smooth looking lefty jumper. I'm under 2 because I will see. I want him to shoot better than that because I'm on the hype train. Like I'm not in like the very front of the hype train, but I'm near the front. Like I have good seats at the front of the bandwagon. So I'm a believer, but it hasn't happened for him yet. Okay, let's do some more over-unders. Let's take a quick break and we will talk more over-unders in the second segment. Today's episode is brought to you by Jase Medical. Look, everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. That's why Jase Medical has the Jase case. The Jase case provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use, so you don't get caught unprepared. You have what you need in hand right away. Jase Medical handles everything from the online evaluation to get you started, to the licensed pharmacy medication delivery, to the ongoing consultation and care with licensed physicians, so you know what to do when you have those life-saving antibiotics on hand. It's doctor created, it's doctor recommended, and it's going to keep your family safe. So why not go to jasemedical.com and use that code LOCKEDON at checkout for $20 discount on your order. That's promo code LOCKEDON at jasemedical.com. All right. Okay, Charles, you want to keep it rolling with some more over-unders? How about Jeremy Grant? Over under 6 3-point attempts per game.
Under. Yeah, under. He shot 5.7 attempts per game last season. I think there's more shots going around amongst other players this year. So I just think it's pieces of the pie kind of situation. And he may have a smaller one this year with Scoot getting up some shots. I want to see Shaden shooting more. Anthony is already a high volume 3-point shooter. Maybe
the thing Malcolm Brogdon does
do 3-point attempts a game. Maybe Tumani's trying to get his percentage up. I think this is under, but maybe this is pretty close.
Yeah, I think, all of the guards, what they do best is maybe not Scoop, but like the other, Shaden and Ant and Malcolm Brogdon, the thing they do best is score, go shoot it. So they're gonna take shots. I think Jeremy Grant's gonna hijack a lot of possessions. I'm cautious over.
Okay.
Hijack.
Pulling up lots of threes this year.
Yeah. By hijack, I mean like they're pretty clearly their second best offensive player. And so at times he's just going to say, give me the dang ball. He takes a lot of middies. 5.7 last year, 5.4, but then 6.1 in 2021 with Detroit. I think 6 is the right number. I'm a cautious over. If this was 5.9, I'd probably be a more confident over, but over 6, I think 6 is a really good line because I think he's going to take like somewhere between 5.8 and 6.1. Like he's going to be right in the range that he's been the last 3 years because he plays the way he plays. I do think he's going to shoot. I would disagree with smaller piece of the pie. It in a perfect world, Charles, you're right. That ain't Jeremy Grant's world. He's not going to have to listen to the perfect world. He doesn't have to share. He's going to shoot more. So I'm cautious over.
Right. So maybe something comes along with that besides the money.
Yeah. He's also like, he's a vet. He has Dame's locker in the locker room, dude.
Oh, that's spicy right there.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, they give this. I'll just like share
that locker
this.
Literally better, or is this?
It is. It's on the end. It's on the end. So they give the corner lockers to the most veteran players. So the 2 like prestigious on the end lockers are Jeremy Grant and Anthony Simons. Ant has the locker that was CJ McCollum's. In the past, it was LaMarcus Aldridge's. In the past, it was Scottie Pippen's. It's like it's a big boy locker.
nooks and crannies in some of these nice lockers as well. A better shelving system.
Oh yeah. Well, Dame used to have a setup where there was an empty one next to him, so he literally had 2 stalls. Like he was like on the end, and he had 2 stalls. I don't think Jeremy's got that yet, but he's working on it. And then you got the corners, Malcolm Brogdon and Deandre Ayton. So they got the vets taken care of in the corners. We'll see if they trade Malcolm Brogdon. They're like incredibly young, and it's like another 20. Then they'll have 24, 26, 26 on the corners. We'll see how it works. Okay. That's all locker room talk. Here's another locker room talk from something I noticed in preseason. Duop Reith and Kevin Knox and Moses Brown, they all have lockers. So if you're a conspiracy theory person, as I'm recording this, maybe they're all making the team, or they could, just take the nameplate off. It takes about 20 minutes. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action because it's NFL season with America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. All you got to do is place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you place a single $5 bet. And after you place that bet, you'll have money to play with, have some fun, go make some other NFL bets on things like spreads and player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn. Get into that NFL season. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. Still a pass first point guard. Still Mike Rich, and you're still listening to Locked On Blazers. This is the rest of our show, talking over-unders. My man, Chuck. Okay, over-under. 35.5 points for the single game scoring high for Scoot Henderson.
Yeah, I'm on board with the Scoot era. I'm going over here. It's so easy for me to imagine a few Scoot games where he's just downhill, attacking, getting to the rim, producing some easy points through free throws, and he hits just like a handful of threes.
Right.
And then I think you're there as just what looks to be a physically ready kind of player. So I think he hits this once or twice.
36 is so many points. I am over 2 though, because I want to believe. Just for out of curiosity, Damian Lillard scored over 35 3 times as a rookie, and then my favorite Scoot comp, John Wall, didn't do it. 32 was his rookie high. So bummer. 36 is a lot. It's a lot, but I think he'll do it because I think they're going to play some insanely high scoring games. Like I think they're going to lose some games like 135, 118. And it's like, well, they had 118, but they got smoked, And I think at the end of the year, there might just be some like, hey, Scoot, you can go now. Like Jeremy Grant has a fake ankle injury. Anthony Simons has a fake ankle injury. Everyone else has a fake ankle injury. And Scoot, you're allowed to just do whatever you would ever like. Blazers would never fake injuries. They only have done it 2 straight years. Okay. Over under. Sorry, I'm just saying that so Adam Silver, if he's listening, because he's threatened to fine teams for doing that. Kevin Knox, over under 9.5 total steals on the season. Where are you at?
Under. I mean, I guess this guy's got a locker, but how much is he gonna play?
Yeah.
Sure. These ones are so strange to me in a way for these fringe players. This is a testament to
Wait, are you a Kevin Knox? There's no way you're a Kevin Knox believer. You've probably been a Kevin Knox doubter since he was a Knick, haven't you?
Well, no, I remember when diehard Knick fans were thinking that Kevin Knox was part of some sort of future. What that future is looking like is much different, and it's not with him anymore.
Yeah, he's on his 4th teams or 3rd different team since then. So it's been a while. Yeah, I have over just because, like, I don't know, 10 seems like a totally reachable number. He had 10 in 21 games last year. He was just playing way more minutes. He's not going to play that many minutes, so that's a problem. He had 14 in 21 games, or 14 in Detroit prior to coming over, and it's like he could get there. So I looked at his career averages. He averages like, with some up and down, he's right in the 0.3 range. 0.3 would mean that he needs to play about 30 games and then he would average at 0.3 steals per game. Then he would get to 10. But that's like also imagine like his career averages. He's like playing like normal minute roles. He's not spot minutes. I probably should go under with you, but I'm over. I also not really a Kevin Knox believer. He seems like a nice fellow though. So like, sure. I will say Kevin Knox, this is another sort of thought before we move on. Kevin Knox, in the last preseason game the Blazers played, he shot basically every time he touched the ball, which is like, yeah, I mean, what are you out there to do? Like what's the job? Yeah, like what's the job, right? Like if the ball goes in, you know what you're going to do? You're going to get your money. And if you miss, like, you know, whatever. But then after the game, Chauncey Billups was asked about he's like, oh, I really like K Knox. He's so decisive, you know, when he gets the ball. When he gets the ball, he makes a quick decision to shoot it. And then he started saying other things. And I was like, he certainly does make a quick decision to shoot it every time he gets the ball.
I think also I'm a little biased here also from me. And I think I've mentioned this on past podcasts, but I am just not a steals person.
You have mentioned this. I don't know what this means. What does this mean?
I don't like steals. I don't think it's a meaningful stat in almost any sort of way. I don't think about steals. Last year, off the top of your head, Mike, who led the league in steals? I have no idea.
No idea. I would guess.
Talk about these things. Steals, like
yeah, exactly.
They don't say much these days. So I don't think about steals. I really don't know. Is it Tyrese Halliburton or something? Like, would he get a lot?
My guess would be Marcus Smart. And last year it was OG Anunoby.
Okay.
Last year was OG Anunoby.
An overrated.
Oh wow, hater. OG Anunoby, DeLon Wright, Jimmy Butler, Fred VanVleet.
Okay.
And then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was your fifth overall. So
those are all good players.
Yeah.
I'm anti-steal. I never steal.
Yeah, hater. Thanks again to Charles for joining the program. It's a whole bunch of fun. Going to hear the rest of our conversation, our final over-unders, and season predictions in tomorrow's show. So make sure you come back for that one. Do me a favor. Tell your friends about the program. Next week, the Blazers play basketball games. You're listening to Thursday, October 19th show. And less than a week from today, the Blazers will have played their first game. That's pretty fun. So tell your friends about the show. Tell them they can get it wherever they get a podcast and also on YouTube, and then come back for more. 5 of them next week. I appreciate you listening. I'll talk to you soon.